Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Monday night. I hope you had a great day. I wanted to come live really quickly again. It is once again late. I keep saying I'm going to come earlier, and then just day gets away from me, and all of a sudden it's late again. But I wanted to come on live because I really wanted to talk to you tonight about this idea of what happens when you are just off your game. Just everything that goes with the day just doesn't seem to go how it's planned or how you usually do it. I don't know about you, but give me a shout out if you have days like that. I know we all do, or if you've had one like that recently, because that was really me today. So it was a whole new schedule, a whole new everything today, because school ended on Friday. As you guys know, Friday was the last day of school for my kiddos. My eldest finished up 6th grade, my middle finished up 4th, and my youngest finished up 2nd. And we went straight from the swing of school mode and that routine in our lives, which was, we were down to, a pretty solid routine this year. The routine was different because in past years, we've had all 3 kids in one school. So this year it was different because we had, my eldest was in the middle school and the 2 younger were in the elementary school. So this year we had to get a whole new routine down, right? And then all of a sudden today, it's time for summer to start. It's time for, we went from literally without breathing, right? School ended on Friday, and this morning summer camp started and the summer routine started. And I just all day just felt like I was off my game, right? We got up, and first of all, my eldest, for the first time ever, had to go to early swim practice, right? It used to be that my kids actually my girls didn't even swim last year on the team because of camp. But in the past, when they've all swam at the regular, so there's an early time, a middle time, and a later time. And they've all swam at that middle time, and they've gone from there straight to camp, and it's been no big deal. Well, she's older this year, so she goes to the earlier time. And so that was already like totally off my game, right? She had to be out the door this morning to go to the pool at the same time that I'm usually making breakfast on a school morning. So everything was earlier. So like I had to shift my whole morning, and I really have a good routine in the morning. I'm up super early, I get some work done, I get up and I make breakfast, and so everything was off this morning with that, right? And I just felt like it was one of those days that I started off my game and everything went off my game, right? Everything was off. So she went to early swim practice. My two other went to middle swim practice, right? So I walked them to swim practice. And because fortunately the pool is all walking distance. It's right by our school. So my same morning walk, and we left pretty much the same time we would leave with them for school, which was good. That was sort of on my regular thing. And then I walked home, and then they all were going to different places for camp. My middle was staying over at the rec center for camp, and my other 2 were going someplace else. So I came home, picked up my car, and drove back up to get them. So I got my morning walk in, which was nice. And right in past years, I've done this. It's, I've gone up to pick them up and to get them off to camp. And I always brought a snack with me, right? Because they've been swimming for 45 minutes. Today, my eldest swam for 45 minutes and then did dry land workout for another 45 minutes. So they work out really hard. And I get up to practice to pick them up and went, oh, I didn't bring a snack, right? Because I'm so off my game. I'm so out of, this is not even my routine anymore, right? This hasn't been my routine. And of course, they're starving, right? Rightfully so. So my middle, who is staying there for camp, I said, you've got snacks in your snack bag. Pull one of those snacks, eat something, right? The other 2, I said, I got to take you guys to camp anyway. We'll swing by the house. We'll go grab you a snack. So we swung by the house. I ran in. I grabbed them each a snack, and I actually grabbed my middle a snack too. Took the 2 of them to camp, and then I ran my middle back to camp, her snack back to her, because I really wanted her to have her other snacks for camp time, right? But it just felt like I was just so out of my element. I was like, what am I thinking? I did this all last summer. I did this the summer before. I've done this all these other summers, right? I know this routine. And I was just off my game. I was just off, right? And then, middle of the day, again, it was pickup time from camp, and it was just different, right? And then we had our first swim meet tonight, right? And I'm getting back in the groove, right? Now I'm all ready for tomorrow, and we're all prepared, and it's good. But it's just, I don't know if you can relate to this or how you feel about this, but like when something changes like this, when you're in such a good groove and such a good routine, and that shifts and you just don't feel like you got it, right? And that's sort of how my whole day felt like. And we can respond to that in really different ways, right? We can respond to that and be like, oh, my day is ruined. Nothing is going right. I'm forgetting everything, right? And you can really let that bring you down. Or you can take the positive route with that and say, okay, wait, you know what? I'm off my game, and we can kind of laugh about it. And I did laugh about it a lot this afternoon, and I laughed about it with my kids, right? Like that we were just totally off of our routine. And then we can stop and take a step back and say, okay, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to get myself back in the game, right? Back the way I should be. And today this was very relevant because my schedule all changed, and I just have to get back into a new routine, figure out my new summer routine. But I was actually talking about this with a client today, same kind of concept, right? Where we can let something like this, where something throws us off. Maybe we're having a stressful day, and so we fall off of our plan. Maybe we have a stressful week, right? And we just spiral out of control. And we let that, mispitch, if we're talking about a game, the miss, right, really take us and just knock us off. And in my past life, this is what used to happen to me, right? I would go on some sort of program. I would go to get healthy, to lose the weight, right? And I would be doing great. I'd be doing great. And then something would happen to knock me off my game. And it would spin out. And next thing I would know, it would be months and months and months later. And all the hard work I had put in previously, it would be gone. And I'd put that weight back on, right? And it was this perpetual yo-yo dieting, right? And it was terrible, right? And this is the same concept, right? We can take these things, and these little things can knock us off our game temporarily, and we can get right back in, or they can knock us off and be gone, and we can be totally off. And I was actually having a conversation with somebody today about this very concept, right? She had some stuff going on in her life, and it had knocked her off, and for the last month or so, and she said to me, but the good thing is, she said, I'm back, right? I was off for about a month, and I'm back. And, and I said to her, that's a win, right? Because in the past circumstances, you may not have come back in a month. It may have been a year or 2 years, or maybe never, right? But that's what we have to do. When something knocks us off our game, when something throws us a curveball, we gotta come back, right? We gotta bring ourselves back. We gotta say, okay, this isn't how I want to be. I want the other way, and this curveball is not gonna derail me, right? So for me, like I said, in previous attempts at getting healthy, I'd do great until the day I didn't make it to the grocery store to prep, right? And then gone. Or I would do great. I can remember one time, in one instance, many years, it was before I had kids, and I was doing great, and I was going to the gym all the time, and I was working out with a trainer, and I was doing awesome, and I fell and sprained my ankle, right? Okay, legitimate thing. I don't remember how I sprained my ankle, but I legitimately sprained my ankle. It was a pretty bad injury. And so I was off of it. I couldn't go to the gym. Well, that was it. It was done, right? Didn't go back for several years. And actually, when I did finally go back, it's funny because my trainer happens to be a very good friend of mine. And I did that before I had kids. And so then it was just the weight crept on and on and on and on and on. And I had 3 kids, right? And it was finally after my 3rd was born, and I ran into her someplace, and I said, I'm going to be back. And she laughed at me and she said, yeah, right. And I said, no, what? I'm going to be back. And I did go back. But this was now however many years later, right? I had 3 kids later, so it was probably 5 years later, maybe 6 years later, since I had sprained my ankle. So that curveball threw me off my game for 5 years, right? 5 years and 3 kids later, right? And I had done multiple attempts in between. But 5 years because of because of an injury, right? Crazy. And we all do that. We use these things, we use these situations as excuses, right? Really, there are excuses. That was my excuse not to go back to the gym. Because frankly, I'm going to be completely honest, I hate the gym. I despise the gym. I've always despised the gym. That's not my thing, right? I love to walk. I love to be outside. I love healthy motion, healthy movement. But I hate the gym, and it was torture for me. So as soon as I hurt myself and had an out, I was out, right? I was done. And those things can derail us, right? Those things, and actually when I went back to her 5 years later, I went and I worked with her for a long time, for several years. And then when the gym that I used to work with her at closed down, again, that was my out. That was my excuse out, right? And I hate the gym. But at that point, by the time that happened, and actually I flailed for a little while because that was when some of the weight from the last time before I did this program started coming back on, right? And that was part of it, and it was an excuse. And the thing is, we can make excuses about things, or we can make arrangements, right? We can make an excuse about why you're not going back to the gym. We can make an excuse as to why we're not eating healthy foods. We can make an excuse about why I'm still up at 12:15, right? When I keep saying I'm going to go to bed earlier, right? We can make excuse after excuse after excuse, or we can make arrangements to make it work the way we want it to make, right? We can make arrangements to make sure that our healthy nutrition is lined up. I was actually having this conversation with somebody tonight who keeps having excuse after excuse after excuse as to why this person isn't getting started, and they're frustrated because they want to get started, but it's reason after reason. And I said, okay, so let's make arrangements. What's the plan? You're going to start tomorrow. What's the plan? Here's what you're going to do. Here's how you're going to lay it out, right? We'll see if hopefully for their sake they do, right? But we can always find excuses. We can always find reasons not to do something, right? But when we really want it, we make the arrangements, no matter how difficult it is, what we're faced with, we make the arrangements to make sure that it happens, right? So when I finally made the decision almost 3.5 years ago now, right, that I was going to get healthy for the very last time, that was it. I was done. I was done with the yo-yo diet issue, right? I didn't want to be a professional yo-yo dieter anymore. I was done with it. Right? When I made that decision, the excuses went out the window. They were gone. I then made arrangements. I made arrangements for how it was going to work. I made arrangements for how it was going to work when things got tough, when I went on vacation, when we had a party for whoever, right? When all these things happened, I made arrangements so that I could be successful and so that I could achieve what I wanted to achieve, right? And that's what I help my clients do. I help them figure out how to live their life and be able to be successful and, face things, right? Because life is going to happen. Life's going to happen. We're going to be thrown curveballs. Sometimes we're going to throw the curveball ourselves, right? Sometimes things are going to knock us off our game, and that's okay. But it's, what are you going to do? Are you going to use that I'm off my game as your excuse to really go off your game? Or are you going to use that I'm off my game as an opportunity to make an arrangement to get back on your game and to be even more successful? So I'd love to hear your feedback from this. Let me know, what your thoughts, if this rings to you, like, what do you do when you're off your game, right? Give me a shout out. Let me know what you do. Send me a private message. You can comment here. I know it's late, so not a whole lot of people are watching live right now, but as you catch it in the replay, put #replay so I know that you picked it up in the replay, and let me know. Let me know what you do when you're off your game. Have a great night. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Hopefully earlier. Arrangements, not excuses, right? So hopefully earlier tomorrow night. Have a great one. Bye.